What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. I'm Anthony. On today's video, I got a really simple one, but it's going to be effective. Today I want to talk about 5 of my most used preps. That's right, today we're going to be talking all about 5 of my most used preps. I use preps in quotations because first off, I'm not going to be talking about EDC or everyday carry, so it's just a whole another subject. But I use preps because I don't consider a lot of these preps. I consider them just part of my lifestyle at this point because I've been living this lifestyle for so long. But if you aren't in the lifestyle, then you would probably consider this to be preps, because this is something not everybody does. So that's why I wanted to make this list. It actually came up in conversation this week about some of the things that I use the most, some of the preps that have saved my butt. So I figured to make a good subject for a video, hence why I'm doing this one right now. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so number one, the number one prep that I think every single family should have, everyone needs to have this because it is my most used prep, quote unquote, prep, is going to be having an emergency fund, and even better, having an emergency fund in cash. Okay, so yeah, you can have your emergency fund where you have a savings account, you may put it into another whole different bank, whatever, that's fine and dandy and all kind of good stuff. But when you happen to have a need at home and you can't get to an ATM, or the ATMs are closed, bank holiday, whatever, you will be thanking everyone that you have cash at home. Point B, for an example, the hurricane we had a couple months ago. If you've watched that video, you know what I'm talking about. We didn't have power for days. We didn't have internet for over like 12 days. So there was quite a few people that were trying to find materials to restock their house, but they couldn't get them because all they had was credit cards. So they had to either drive 2 hours, 1 hour one way and 1 hour back to find an ATM that actually worked, or they were up the creek without a paddle. So this is one of those things where I firmly suggest, if you want to be prepared, if you want to give yourself at least an opportunity to succeed, the first prep you make, if you want to get started in the whole prepping community and the journey, you get yourself an emergency fund and you fund it not only in a bank but also in cash. Now that brings me to number 2. If you've been a part of my channel for any length of time, you know this, but I consider my garden and my livestock to be one of my best preps, one of my most used preps. Actually, I don't even consider it a prep anymore. I consider it just lifestyle at this point, but I know a lot of people do consider it prep, so it's one I want to make sure I mention it in this video. But my garden produces food every single month out of the year. If you don't believe me, it's February, and I have Brussels sprouts. My livestock also produce, because I harvested a bunch of rabbits last month. I'm getting eggs again, so clearly I'm still producing food, albeit not as much food as I usually make during summertime or fall, but still producing quite a bit of food. So yeah, it's absolutely something I would consider an amazing prep, so it has to make this list. Here are the rabbits. She's camera shy. She's very friendly. Now that's going to bring me to what? Number 3. Okay, it's going to be snake boots. I'm actually wearing them right now, so I'll take them off and show you. Okay, see? Leather, got little snake bite stuff, goes really right up almost to the knee. These are invaluable for peace of mind. I've done a video on them before, so I'm not going to go too hardcore into it, but this is one of those preps where if you go out in the woods all the time like I do, I'm always on my property looking for mushrooms or hunting or something. It's stressful enough trying to find mushrooms or deer or dove or whatever you may be hunting, squirrels, whatnot, especially when you're hunting squirrels because you're constantly looking up. It's stressful enough doing that and trying to get a good shot. The last thing you need to think about is what happens if I step on an eastern diamondback or a cottonmouth or a copperhead, because they're out even right now. It's February, but it's like 70 degrees today, so I know there's snakes out and they're sunbathing. So it's got to constantly be on your mind, and I hate that. I hate the stress of having to worry about snakes. So having a good pair of snake boots is invaluable, and it's definitely one of those things I consider to be one of those preps I use all the time. Brings me to number 4. And I try to do an off-the-wall one, but one that I use all the time, and that's going to be rechargeable batteries. More specifically, things like loops like this, all right? For a long time, I was like, you know, who cares? It's just double A's or single A's or single A's, triple A batteries, or D's or whatever, but I cannot tell you how much money we have saved over the course of just even 1 year by having 2 cases of these. The fact that I have to use a flashlight like this when I take my dog outside at night to do her business, or when the it gets dark at 5 o'clock and I got to go feed and water the chickens and rabbits, I'm have my headlamp on, or when I'm walking up my hallway because we don't have any outlets, that I have to put 2 motion lights. So I'm constantly having to change out and charge rechargeable batteries. So the fact that I have them means I save myself basically $5 every time I need to recharge, which is like every few days on some of them, especially my motion lights. They barely last a month. So the fact that I am saving myself $5, $10, $15, $20 a month just by having rechargeable batteries, and I don't have to worry about thinking about it, that's I consider that to be a good prep. And if you don't have these, I'll recommend getting Loops from Eneloop. They have the Amazon link, whatever, you can find them on Amazon. Just make sure it says sold by Eneloop, because there are knockoffs, but these things are great. It's a lifesaver. Make a wonderful Christmas gift. I've definitely given them out as well, so if you don't have any of these, I think you should check them out. And finally, that brings me to number 5. There are so many things I wanted to put in this slot, but I can only put 5 in, so I might end up doing an honorable mention. We'll see. But for sure, if I had to put something in the top 5, it would have to be my library. Okay, I built a custom bookshelf so I could, put my library and kind of organize it just a little bit. And I think it is one of my most invaluable tools. It's something that I use all the time. I'm constantly going back and referring to things in books. Yeah, the internet's cool, but how many times have you save something on the internet and it no longer exists because something happened or the website domain closed down or whatever? But it's cool to be able to save things on your phone, but it's even better when you can walk up to your own personal library and answer the questions that you may have just having books. So I'll show you some of the books I have in my library right here. But I definitely recommend, if you are considering being a prepper or homesteader, or even in self-reliance, you just want to be taken back from the system, whatever. If you want to live self-reliant like I do, then having your own kind of library with resource material that's accurate, doesn't change on the whim of whatever somebody's saying this week, then I absolutely suggest building yourself a quality library. The good thing is there are tons of thrift stores these days, and books are seen as like a throwaway item for a lot of folks, especially the younger generations. So they'll donate some really good ones and you can pick them up for like $1, $2. Some of the best books I have in there I bought for less than $2 because I was at a thrift store. And every time I go to a thrift store, the first section I stop at is the bookshelf. So I highly suggest, if you are considering doing this kind of lifestyle, that you absolutely build a quality library. Okay, so there y'all have it. That is my 5 of my most used preps. Now I know some of y'all are probably considering I was going to break out like a list of 5 handy dandy knick-knack things that you can buy from a store, but no, unfortunately, some of these require actual dedication, knowledge, and learning how to do something skill set wise. So you can't just go into a store and buy it, but some of them you can. But these are the ones that when I'm asked, hey, what are your most used preps? What are the things you use all the time? I would consider these to be the ones that I'm constantly messing with on the daily. So that's why I want to do a video on it, because if you're one of those people who might be getting into the preparedness community or the self-reliance community, homesteader, whatnot, I wanted to be able to show you what I've used all the time, so maybe you can put on your own lists of priority what you may need to work on. So for me personally, I cannot tell you how important having an emergency fund is, because life always happens. That's why it made my number 1. The rest of them you can probably interchange on this list from 2 to 5, but number 1 for sure has saved my butt so many times. I had to do a list. I was actually going to do a video just on that, but I figured it'd be pretty self-explanatory and very short. So that's why I decided to do the top 5. But if you learned anything at all from this video, do me a humongous favor and give this one a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you are not, and I will catch y'all on the next one.